What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jackie and this is Jackie's Beat. Today's video is going to be all about this little guy. I wanted to do a video about the Beauty Blender because I have a few friends who weren't sure if they wanted to buy it or not. They thought it was a little too expensive. It goes for like 20 bucks at Sephora for a little sponge. Sounds a little ridiculous, but I assure everybody that it's well worth your money. I gave one to my mom once and she really wasn't crazy about it. She didn't really know how to use it properly, so I wanted to give a little Beauty Blender 101 or tips and tricks on how you guys can increase the lifespan of your Beauty Blender and really get the most out of it. So just keep in mind that not all beauty sponges are created equal. This one happens to be the actual Beauty Blender, but there are tons of companies that make like knockoff versions of them or have their own versions of beauty sponges. They're definitely not all the same. I've bought a few of the cheaper ones from like TJ Maxx or Marshalls and stores like that. And I find that a lot of times they can be really dense and they really don't apply the product properly. So just beware if you are gonna go for something a little bit less expensive than the actual Beauty Blender, you might not necessarily get the best quality. That being said, some brands that I have heard of that I know for sure make really good beauty sponges that aren't exactly as expensive as the Beauty Blender are Morphe. I know that they have a really good one. Real Techniques has a really good beauty sponge. Tarte makes one, and so does Sigma. So those are all really highly reviewed beauty sponges, and if you choose to go with one of those brands, you probably will be happy with your purchase as well. Today I'm going to be talking specifically about the Beauty Blender. I absolutely love this product. I mean, I don't know what I would do without my Beauty Blender. This thing is like my go-to. I've tried so many foundation brushes and nothing really gives me the finish that a Beauty Blender does. So I absolutely love it. I have so many good things to say about it. And here are my tips and tricks to help you have the best experience with your Beauty Blender. The first thing that I want to talk about is basic use of the Beauty Blender. So the most important thing is you want to make sure that your Beauty Blender is wet. Now, some people don't know that at first, so they try to use it dry, and basically all it does when it's dry is suck up your product and it doesn't really apply it to your face. So you definitely want to make sure that you dampen your beauty sponge. The best way for you to do this, or the way that I do it at least, is I hold it under running water, and as I'm holding it under the running water, I just squeeze it like this while the water is running on it until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And after about 15 to 20 seconds of squeezing it under running water, it will expand to its maximum size, which is about like this. Once it's at its maximum size and it's totally saturated, I give it like a really good squeeze and get all the water out of it. And then I like to wrap it in either a hand towel or a paper towel and just squeeze out that last little bit of excess moisture. You really want to make sure that it's not totally wet, it's just damp, because if there's extra water in the sponge, it's gonna mix in with your product and it's gonna either water down your product, or if you have a product that's not water-based, it could break up your product a little bit and then it could apply a little bit splotchy to the skin. So you really wanna make sure that you get any excess water out of the Beauty Blender and it's just damp. It's not like soaking wet when you go to use it. So as far as actually applying the product with your beauty sponge, what you're gonna wanna do is first take whatever liquid products or cream products you're using and kind of dot them on your face first before you start moving them around. I find that if I take the sponge and I dip it straight into the product, that the sponge tends to eat a little bit more of the product. Whereas if I apply it to my face first and then start moving it with the sponge just moves it around on my skin and it's not eating up the product so much. So what I like to do is dot a little bit of my foundation on one side and then just take it in pouncing motions and lightly pounce on my face to move the product around until it's a nice even finish and coverage. You can pounce, but you can also use the Beauty Blender to swipe or to drag the product. I especially like to drag it when I'm going down my neck to try and blend my foundation out with my neck and match everything so that it blends out nicely. I like to take it and just either swipe it or drag it. But I do, anytime I use the Beauty Blender to swipe or drag, I do always finish it off with a pounce, because I find that that pouncing motion is what really sets it in place and gives you that nice even finish on your skin. Another place that I like to drag is right over here, because if I have my eyebrows done, I don't want to be too far away from them. I like to get nice and close, so I take the pointy end and I will just swipe it on the outer edge of my eyebrow, and then I'll go over it with a little pounce. Okay, so some additional uses for your beauty blender. You can actually use your beauty blender to blend in your concealer and your contour if you're gonna do a cream contour. Any kind of liquid or cream products that you use, you do not need to get a whole new beauty blender for the new products. You can use the same one that you had your foundation on, because whatever excess product is in there, even though it looks dirty, is pretty much soaked into the sponge already. So it's not going to be mixing up the color. You can put all those cream products on and blend them out with that same sponge. The only thing I would suggest is that when you use your sponge, you're going to want to do the highlight areas first where the lighter product is, and then after you're done with all of the lighter products, you can go back in and blend out the darker products for any contour spaces that you have. A common misconception with the beauty blender is that you can only use it for liquid and cream products, and that is for the most part true. However, there is one powder product that I absolutely swear by the beauty blender as the applier for it. Like, this is my all-time favorite, is whenever I use a translucent setting powder, this is the Laura Mercier, is my favorite one. I always apply it with a damp beauty sponge if I'm using it to bake or to set my under eye concealer or set my eyelids before I'm ready to do my eyeshadow. I think it's just one of the best ways to get your translucent powder to really just melt into the product that you're trying to set and help it set really, really nicely into the skin. One other thing that I really love to do with my beauty blender, and this is a trick that I learned from watching Laura Lee's videos, so if you guys follow her, I'm sure you've seen this already. Whatever setting spray she's using, she'll spray it onto her face, and then as the setting spray is working itself into the product, she'll take the beauty blender and just lightly press it and press that setting spray right into the skin. It was like life-changing for me. It makes all of the product just look more like it's actually a part of your skin and not so much cakey product on top. All right, last thing that we're gonna talk about is maintenance of your beauty blender. This is gonna be the way that you're gonna get your beauty blender to last you as long as possible. Because this is a sponge, it's like the perfect breeding ground for like bacteria and all this gross stuff that you really don't want to be putting on your face. So you definitely want to make sure that you're giving it a thorough washing in between every use. So I decided to test out a regular bar of hand soap that I got from like CVS. I think it was like my husband's like Irish Spring or something like that. And I took the beauty blender, and what I did was I ran the beauty blender, I got it totally wet under the running water, and then I took the bar of soap and I just rubbed it directly onto the bar of soap while it was still under running water on all sides and like all edges of the beauty blender. And you keep doing that until the water starts to run clear and you can see that there's no more product left in there. Once you're done with that, you put the soap down and then just squeeze the beauty blender underneath the running water until you see that all the soap is gone and the water's running clear, and then squeeze out whatever excess water is in there, and no joke, your beauty blender is going to be like sparkling, as good as new. That is like the ultimate beauty blender hack if I ever had one. All right, you guys, that concludes today's video. I hope you learned something. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions about the beauty blender, if you have any comments about this video, please leave them in the comments section down below and I'd be happy to get back to you guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.